And with us now is Congressman West, the Republican from the 22nd District. Mr. West, good morning. Great to have you come in.
Good morning, and hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving.
And I did, and I hope you did as well with your family. Congressman, the Super Committee earlier this week failed to reach an agreement. Surprise?
No, I was not surprised, because I think that you have an incredible ideological chasm in the United States of America right now.
Right.
I think that we should have been operating within the right scope of the Congress. We have the Ways and Means Committee, Financial Services Committee, and we need to be going in there looking for the means by which we can cut spending and also to increase revenues in the United States of America. Now, sitting here with you, I will tell you, I don't think that raising taxes is the way to go, and that's something that President Obama even stated back in 2009.
Yeah. Well, on the other hand, the failure of this committee to reach an agreement, ironically, both Paul Krugman, the liberal columnist, economist for the New York Times, said, hey, this is great, and so did the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal. And part of the reason I think both said it was that some of these cuts to the budget, $1.2 trillion over 10 years, are going to kick in anyway. So,
but the thing is, coming out of the military and sitting on the Armed Services Committee, we've already cut the defense spending of the United States of America by $466 billion over the next 10 years. Right. We had a series of hearings where we had the Secretary of Defense, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and all the service chiefs, to include the Commandant of the Marine Corps, talk about what another $500 to $600 billion of cuts over 10 years will mean to the military. So you're talking about an Army and a Marine Corps, our two primary fighting forces, Army going from 549,000 to 425,000. A Marine Corps that's only at 202,000 going to 145,000. You're talking about some of the lowest levels of personnel strength that we've seen coming out of, about World War I.
And so do you think that you and other supporters in Congress are going to look at some of these sequester numbers and next year say, no, we can't cut the military that much, we can't cut education that much, or we can't cut Medicare spending? I mean, are you going to go in and try and revise this?
Well, you have to look at that. I mean, and like I said, Secretary Panetta talked about the fact that these type of cuts will hollow out this military force, especially at a time when we're asking the military to do more and more. Look at what's happening in Egypt, the fact that we have 30,000 shoulder-fired missiles missing from Libya. So now is not the time, especially when you think we take combat maneuver battalions in the Army from 100 down to 60 to 70. We take naval war vessels from 288 down to 238. We take our Air Force fighter aircraft from 1,990 down to 1,500. These are
dangerous cuts, you believe?
These incredibly dangerous cuts. And I lived through, severe cuts to the military when I was back during the Clinton administration. And it had long-term ramifications, because we went to Iraq in 2003 without enough body armor, and we did not have those up-armed Humvees.
Yeah, I remember when veterans groups were taking collections so that body armor could be added, and then the armored personnel carriers, other vehicles could get added armor, because the IEDs were killing our people.
They were absolutely killing us. And so what we have to do is understand what are the roles and responsibilities for the federal government. And I think that we need to go back and really have that hard examination about all of these different agencies. I mean, do we need all of these subsidies in the coming out of the Department of Agriculture?
Ethanol?
Yeah, corn ethanol. I mean, that's a horrible decision that we made, because it then affects food prices as well.
Congressman, it appears to many people, frankly, it appears to me, that with the failure of the Super Committee and, the failure of Congress to agree on much of anything, that a new president is elected a year from now. Not much is going to happen in Washington. Not much progress is going to be made towards any kind of reconciliation on major issues.
I think the American people need to start to ask themselves, what do they want to see going forward for the United States of America? Friday before the Super Committee failed, we couldn't even pass a balanced budget amendment. Now, for me, that was really the story that should be told, and that in Washington, D.C., we don't feel that we should live within our means. In the fiscal year 2011, we had a 6.5% increase of revenues yet we still had a $1.3 trillion deficit. Something has to change.
Something's got to give.
It has to give.
Yeah, you know, just briefly, here is what the Wall Street Journal said the other day about the divide in Congress and, in a way, in the country.
It's in the country.
Said, Democrats are confident they can blame Republicans for the failure of the super committee and ride their president's class warfare campaign to victory. Republicans have to counter with a message of economic growth and sensible reforms of government so the U.S. doesn't end up like Europe. In a nutshell, is that sort of where we are?
That is where we are, and I think the problem that we have on our side is that we're not proactive communicators. When you think about the fact that now we've gone over $15 trillion in debt, now our debt to GDP ratio has gone over 100%. We're at 101%. What we owe is eclipsing what we're producing. And in Greece, it's 128%. In Italy, it's 120%.
Yeah, I saw a chart the other day about the countries, and the United States is down in the lower third, but we are still there.
Yeah.
What about the fact that the failure to agree on the super committee budget deficit means that the Bush tax cuts will expire in 2013? That essentially means a tax increase.
Yes.
Social Security payroll tax cut of 2% that has been in effect expires at the end of the year. Extended unemployment benefits at the end of the year. Are you good with all of that?
Well, I would rather us not continue to extend unemployment benefits. I would rather us try to look at the policies that will create job growth in the United States of America. And as a matter of fact, I'll share this with you. This here is that's the 6-point objectives for, you know, how we can restore the economy. You flip on the backside, you see the 22 pieces of legislation, bipartisan, that have been passed in the House that are sitting on Harry Reid's desk. Does not cost the American people one dime to get those type of growth policies in effect.
And if folks at home would like to see what this is, they could go to your website and
they can go to my website, or they can go to your website.
Job Creators, jobsgop.gov.
Yeah.
President Obama appears, the polls all indicate, to have lost a lot of support with the independents, the swing voters, even younger voters say they're not going to take part in the campaign this year. How vulnerable do you think Mr. Obama is?
I think he has to see himself as vulnerable, especially when one of the new statistics is that the 18 to 28-year-olds that are still having to live at home with mommy and daddy because they don't have job opportunities out there. So the rhetoric of hope and change, people start to look objectively, what does that mean? What does that mean? A 41% increase in food stamp recipients, 16% increase in poverty level, 48.5% of Americans tied to some form of government aid. That's not how we turn this thing around. And I think that the president has to come out and really take some responsibility. $4.4 trillion of new debt in less than the 3 years that he has been in office. And he needs to be able to explain it.
You know, I hope to get an interview with the president, in fact, in the next...
well, we're going to have him down here for the debate
we certainly, we will at Lynn University.
At Lynn University.
But that's not until
October next year.
Yeah, October.
Yeah.
I want to come back, talk more about the presidential field for the GOP.
Have some fun with that one.
Okay, all right, hold on just a minute. Stay with us. We'll be back with Congressman Allen West in just a minute.